On November 4th, 2021, the Acquisition and Sustainment Office of the Undersecretary of Defense announced a new strategic direction for the Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification, or CMMC framework. The launch of CMMC 2.0 comes after an internal DoD review of the program that began in March 2021 based on industry feedback of the interim DFARS rule. These changes will have far-reaching implications throughout the CMMC ecosystem. They'll all also greatly impact the defense industrial base, or DIB. Hi everyone, I'm Matt from Tactics, and today I'm going to explain the 6 biggest changes brought forth by CMMC 2.0. Before we get started though, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking the button below. While you're down there, hit that alert bell icon next to it as well, so when we post new helpful content, you get notified. The first change was the streamlining of certification levels. The previous model, version 1.02, had 5 maturity levels, and the new model contains only 3. The new model removed levels 2 and 4. Maturity level 1 remained unchanged. It still has 17 practice requirements that align with the 15 cybersecurity practices and FAR 52.204-21. The new maturity level 2 takes the place of the previous maturity level 3, but this level doesn't have the Delta 20 practices, aligning it with the 110 practices of NIST SP 800-171. The new maturity level 3 is still under development based on a subset of NIST 800-172. It takes the place of the previous maturity levels 4 and 5. The second big change with CMMC 2.0 was that it eliminated all maturity processes. The previous model had 5 maturity processes. These progressed from performed to documented, managed, reviewed, and optimized. But this doesn't remove the obligation to have written processes and policies for those who want a level 2 certification. NIST 800-171 revision 2 derives requirements from FIPS 200 and NIST SP 800-53. NIST tailored these previous requirements and controls to protect CUI and non-federal information systems. The tailoring wasn't an endorsement for the elimination of requirements and controls, and NIST cautioned that organizations should not assume that satisfying those particular requirements, or NIST 800-171, will satisfy the requirements and controls in FIPS 200 and NIST SP 800-53. Third, CMMC 2.0 changed assessment requirement. Maturity Level 1 certifications will now allow self-assessments. Certified Third-Party Assessor Organizations, or C3PAOs, will assess a subset of OSCs seeking Maturity Level 3. The type of contracts will determine the subset of suppliers and contractors assessed by C3PAOs. Third-party assessments will apply only to those OSCs handling contracts with information deemed critical to national security. Other OSCs with CUI may self-assess if their contracts aren't deemed critical to national security. Government officials will assess Maturity Level 3 certifications. Most likely that will happen through the Defense Industrial Base Cybersecurity Assessment Center, or DIBCAC. A slight deviation of the assessment process was also made. After an assessment under version 1.02, the C3PA would submit an assessment report to the cmmc-ab. The cmmc-ab would then provide a final review and issue a certification determination or mediate disputes. Version 2.0 now has a C3PAO providing its assessment report to the DoD directly. Fourth, CMMC 2.0 brought back POA and Ms, or Plan of Action and Milestones. Before CMMC, organizations were able to delay the implementation of NIST 800-171 requirements. All they had to do was demonstrate that they planned on implementing those controls at a date in the future. CMMC 1.02 removed the ability to have plan of action and milestones for any practice requirements at the assessed maturity level. CMMC 2.0 has brought back the ability to use a plan of action and milestone on a limited basis. The highest weighted requirements, based on the SPURS point scale, must be fully implemented at the time of the assessment. The DoD also intends on publishing a minimum SPURS score that would support certification with plan of action and milestone. The fifth change was the inclusion of waivers. Under CMMC version 1.02, there wasn't an allowance for waivers. The schedule rolled out over 5 years intended for an increasing number of contracts to contain the CMMC DFARS clause each year. Before the award of the contract with the CMMC DFARS clause, an OSC would need their certification. Flow down of CUI from contracts with the CMMC DFARS clause couldn't occur unless those subcontractors had their CMMC certification, enabling them to receive CUI. CMMC 2.0 introduces the concept of a waiver. CMMC 2.0, however, introduces the concept of a waiver. The sixth and final major change I have for you involved accrediting C3PAOs, assessors, and instructors. The cmmc-ab will continue to be the accreditation body for C3PAOs, CMMC assessors, and CMMC assessor instructor certification organizations. But this doesn't happen until the AB achieves compliance with the ISO IEC 17011 standard first. C3PAOs are also required to comply with ISO IEC 17002. C3PAOs are also required to comply with ISO IEC 17020, and the CAICO needs to comply with the ISO IEC 17024 requirements. Under CMMC 2.0, the DoD will approve all CMMC-AB conflicts of interest within the ecosystem. The goals of the initial program were ambitious, but implementation of version 1.02 would have been expensive and forced many smaller businesses out of the defense industrial base entirely. But the compromises communicated in the release of CMMC 2.0 demonstrate a refocusing, more specifically on CUI that the DoD has deemed worth the investment of time and resources protecting. The introduction of CMMC 2.0 is the result of a risk mitigation effort. Its purpose is to direct the available resources to protect only the most critical of information. If you'd like to learn more about managing CMMC 2.0, reach out to eTactics. And you already made this far into the video, so you might as well like it, share it, and comment below. Well, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to our YouTube channel.